What do you do when you have a bad day? Things are not going right. You might be late for things. You might not have reached a certain suspense or a deadline, and it made your leadership team look bad. What do you do? How do you recover from that? Well, the very first thing that I do is when I do something like that, the very first thing I do is I'm humble. I say, hey, look, sir, ma'am, I messed up. I knew it was in the weekly activity checklist, and I have no excuse, and I got distracted with lower priority things. And then I tell them a resolution on how I'm not going to do it again. Now, if my teamie doesn't meet a suspense, then I always say, hey, teamie, I'll let you down. So being humble and allowing yourself to kind of like, hey, apologize, it relieves the tension inside, and it also allows you to recover. So another thing that I do is I try to pinpoint where I went wrong. Like, where can I have discovered this earlier so I would have not let this happen? So this is how I do deadlines, so I prevent this. So say you missed a deadline. So on my on my WAS, you have all your stuff. And then what I do is I incorporate the WAC on the Saturday portion, because Saturdays is usually blank. Sundays are usually blank. So I write reminders in there. And also there's a little space to the right of the Saturday and to the left of the Sunday on the WAS. So I'll incorporate all that stuff on there, and I'll hang it up in my office. So not just me that sees it, but my teamie sees it as well. So that's how I prevent from messing up. And I also tell my element leaders, when I plan, I have a pregame on Saturdays. I'll say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. And I usually have my other MTI partner in there in the flight office, and we are wargaming together. We are syncing the battle rhythm together as a team. Because believe it or not, that's what we do in the Air Force, right? We have meetings, we discuss the battle plan. So discuss your battle plan with everybody. Another thing that I do is, when I do mess up on scheduling or suspenses, it helps when your element leaders know what's going on. So I always leave a whack in document protectors in the day room. And I say, hey, look, element leaders, I'm never going to hide anything from you. Hey, all you're going to do is look at the schedule, line it up with the checklist, and then whatever you think you need, and we'll work together to make sure that we're always on time and that we always deliver everything. And there have been so many times where maybe my teamie didn't do something, and when I say teamie these days, I mean the instructor on the same flight as me now, not across the hall teamie. So sometimes they won't be prepped properly, but since my element leaders know what's going on, they know how to pack, they know how to get things ready. I don't treat my trainees as trainees. I treat them like they're my wingmen, that we're here together on a team to accomplish a mission together. What if I failed an inspection? It could have been MTIR. I could have failed MTIR. First step, be humble. Second step, find out what you could have done better. So this is what I do for MTIR. All right. On a Saturday when I'm teaching details, I make sure, number one, I have plenty of clean rags. And I put 3 rags on everybody's bed. And what I do is I say, hey, look, what we're going to do is we're going to clean. And anytime I don't have perfection, we're going to do dust downs all over again with details. And I'm going to take off like 2 minutes. So I'm going to give you 25 minutes to do details. The next time I'm going to do 23 or maybe just 20. Depending on how much time you need to get things done. And what I'm doing is task repetition. So honestly, I'll find the most minuscule thing. And I'll say, oh, let's go back. And as we go back, we might as well do some 1x3s. While we're at it, and then they'll start the dust downs again, and and go right to it. If you're doing phasing, just go right into details. And that's it. And I make sure that they understand what clean really is and the attention to detail that they need to do. So at least 3 rags. They keep putting those rags away. The utility and laundry crew, they're just collecting the rags and just putting it into the wash immediately. And they're just doing their thing. And that's basically what I do for MTIR if I fail MTIR. You know, fixing those bad days. All right? Another thing that I do for MTIR is I always hyper-focus on the things that are not doing well. So sometimes, if it's latrine, I'll help in the latrine. I say, hey, you're missing this. The soap dishes. This, that, or whatever. Hey, you got to get this crumb. Oh, you can't get the crumb out? You got to let me know. Because it's the merit. And then I'll start bringing in other stuff, like lime away or whatever like that, and I'll scrub it out because it's my latrine too. This is the way I roll. I take ownership for everything, including their failures, and I hope you do too. So that's MTIR in a nutshell. If I fail MTIR, that can help you have a bad day. What if you fail a drill evaluation? I think I said that before, but a drill evaluation. What if you fail that? Well, that will give you a bad day as well. And how do you recover from that? Step 1, be humble. Exactly. Be humble. Steps to recovery for a drill eval. Teach yourself drill in the day room by yourself, film yourself, and watch yourself. Evaluate yourself. We're in that technology age where you don't need anybody. You just listen to yourself. Watch the way you use the stage. Read the drill evaluation guide. Make sure you incorporate your core values and your supportive foundational competencies throughout the drill lesson. Be exciting. Emphasize certain words. Ask those questions that you know that they're probably going to get wrong. Or things that they might need to be clarified later. See, these are things that you need to do to be able to recover. And that also goes for dorm classes as well. You know, and if you're doing a dorm class and you say you fail a dorm class, well, let's reset that area back up again. Let's prepare the dorm for the evaluation that makes sense to anybody learning this for the first time. Because remember, these are civilians learning how to do military things. And this is the only time that they're ever going to do this type of stuff ever again. Unless you're like security forces who does open ranks and guards mount and stuff like that. So it's very few far in between that they're going to use these skills again. But why are these skills important? Because the discipline that they're displaying is discipline that's inside of their hearts. And that's what you want, and that's what you need to get out. So just remember that. So if they're not understanding, you know, your target audience is not responding or whatever like that, and you say, I don't understand. That's all that means. So getting that application down. Now, application in any class is any way that you want to do it. But you just have to make it effective, so you can't do it on the fly. And sometimes bouncing it off or actually practicing it with another MTI or gaining wisdom from other MTIs could be a tall tale sign of you passing your next evaluation coming up, whether it's dorm or drill or lecture. And lecture doesn't have applications, so that's really a good class to teach just to get it, you know, you flowing with your transitions, core values, supportive foundational competencies. What if you fail control? That can make you have a bad day too. Oh, there are so many corrections. I couldn't see it. Well, this is what I would encourage you to do. First of all, if you get hit with control, I would say, hey, look, can I use my flight? First thing I would do. Why would you want to use your flight? Because you know your flight. And if your flight has been well trained, they should be making a lot of mistakes because they're trained. So believe it or not, I'll take my element leaders and guidon bearers out to the drill pad, like in the 4th, 5th week of training, when everything is done, mainly in the 5th because PCs and stuff like that will be done, and I'll just teach them the control card. And then based on my positioning, they'll be able to see what I'm going to do or what way I'm going to pull. And then I'll ask them questions. Hey, if I stood right here, would you know it was left step or right step next? And I teach them all this stuff, giving them visual cues and not verbal cues so I don't coach them. So if you do that and you do control looks like it's been choreographed. from the very beginning. And you can see the confidence of the element leaders because they know exactly what they're doing. So what I've done is, every student that I've ever had, has passed control the first time. And I take a lot of pride in that, is because I prep the flight and then I prep my MTI, because I don't want my MTI looking for too many corrections, because it was my flight. I taught my flight. Now, if they're my student from the very beginning, when I apply, like when we're doing a class and we're doing application, I let them watch me do application and I slowly give them the reins. All right, your turn. Hey, what did you notice here? What did you notice here? Hey, I just want you just to make sure their heels come together for fall in before they do dress right dress, because hold to the position of attention is going to be a requirement for dress right dress. Even though it's not on the requirements, it's a requirement for dress right dress in a previous class taught already. Hopefully that class is taught before you teach. Now, formation of flight. So these are the things that, and I'm talking them through it, and I make the flight do things over and over and over and over again so they get really good at it. And then when the flight does something well for control, I tell them, hey, that looked real good. Hey, how many of y'all made mistakes? I didn't see it. Okay, what did you do wrong? Oh, you didn't. You pinned your hand on a 45. I appreciate that. Hey, 45-degree pivots, swing them all the way through it. Got it? Cool. And everybody's learning together as a team. Remember that when they're successful, you're successful. And when you're successful, they're going to be successful. It's a team concept. What if you fail records check? That can make you have a bad day too. This is what I do. On Saturdays, I close all the doors. So 341s, I look through every 341. I know people have a habit of putting, like, highlighted marks on the top right-hand side of the 341. And I've seen so many mistakes out of 341s. Like, they'll miss a punctuation, or they'll have the roster number in the wrong location or whatever like that. Listen. You don't have to do all that, and you don't have to even file 341s, to be real. You don't have to file it. I have 2 341 boxes. One box, all 341s smashed in there, and only the most devastating 341s I'll put in that 341 box, and I'll bet my life that everything in there is perfect. So I have 2 341 boxes, one for show, and then one for all of them. And then, if they're not that egregious, I'll probably end up getting rid of them, but I'll keep them. And I'll file them, and I'll take my time. On Saturdays, I take my time. If you do come on Sundays, that's also a records check day. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I got to do this. For my waivers, I'll highlight 1P, 1P, S&D. There's only one of those. Stand-in and drill, there's only one. So I'll highlight them actually on the actual waiver form, and then one of the O's. So PODS. I'll make sure that the evaluator, when they look through it, is perfect and it lines up perfectly with what's in the system. And of course, pencil the roster number on the top right-hand side. So these are things that can help you make you have a bad day. But hopefully this video helped you not have a bad day anymore. And if you saw this video before you had a bad day, make sure you share this. Remember, these are just techniques that I've used. I want to end this with saying that there is really no bad day. Every day is a good day, as long as nobody passed away and died. You could always recover. Now, I will tell you that ever since I've been making these videos, I've been going through a major family crisis. Humongous. Every single video I made. And it's all about being resilient, knowing what pillars to lean on, and knowing how to get through it. So, I hope that helped. Don't forget about your friends. Don't forget about your mentors. Don't forget about your leadership. They're going to be there for you to get you to the next level in your career. All right. I've talked enough. God bless. Take care.